And I know it's going to be a little expensive, but how can we make it work to get Kyle Pitts to the Chiefs? Because I think Kyle Pitts has proven, and we've seen enough of him to know that he's a damn good tight end.
I would prefer Jeremiah Love, I think, over a Breece Hall, honestly. The only downfall to that is that you have to take him so high.
You're listening to All Chiefed Up, the podcast.
Mike, let's talk about Travis Kelce for just a second. We've talked about him maybe retiring this offseason. And let's just say either he does, or Nate Taylor has said that he's heard that Clark Huntham's trying to get him to play one more year. So let's just say either he does retire or he plays the one more season. The Chiefs still have to have a plan in place for tight end. One of the things that really stuck with me that you've kind of said throughout this entire debacle that is the 2025 season, Mike, was you mentioned that this offense was built and molded for Travis Kelce the minute that Tyreek Hill was gone. And now Travis Kelce's 37 years old. He's not what he used to be. And here we are. So thinking that, don't the Chiefs really need to worry about who they have there when Travis is gone, regardless if he's gone this season or next? So I think the two big targets that people are really talking about, Mike, is number one, you either go all in on the Sadiq sweepstakes, right, and try to get him in the draft. A top 10 draft pick for a tight end is wild. But maybe not. Maybe that's what you need to do to get this offense moving. The other option, Mike, is something that I've mentioned a few times and a lot of other people, and that's you could go out in free agency and try to get it on Kyle Pitts. He is going to be an unrestricted free agent come March. And it's a realistic possibility. However, it's going to be a very, very expensive one because it's going to be one of the most competitive signings of the 2026 offseason, in my opinion. So I think you're looking at him maybe getting, his market value is probably somewhere around 4 years, $60 million, $15 million a year. That's probably, I don't know off the top of my head, but I feel like that's more than Kelce ever made, right? But what do you think? Do you think they go draft for tight end? Do you think they try to go ahead and replace him with like a Kyle Pitts that could seamlessly come into this offense and probably succeed? Because I do think that the tight end position is very, very important for this organization.
Yeah, you're going to hear me say this probably throughout the draft, but if the Chiefs end up landing a top 10 pick, if there is no edge rushers that can get up into that category of being a top 10, can't miss. I mean, I'm wanting a guy off the edge. Yeah, I'm wanting a guy off the edge that can disrupt. And if they can't do it, I'm going to want to trade back. In my opinion, having, say, pick number 10 and moving back to, say, pick 13 or 14 and picking up a Kenyon Sadiq is a lot better option than staying at pick number 10 and drafting a running back. And I know a lot of people is going to say, no way. Jeremiah Love is a generational talent. He's this, he's that. He can change the offense. Again, you said it, I've said it. This is always going to be a pass-first team. You need somebody that can give you Travis Kelce plus. That is not available in free agency. Noah Gray is not there. Jared Wiley's not going to do it. Brenningstool, I have no faith that a undrafted free agent's going to turn into something crazy. That's just hope. You can't build rosters and build franchises and dynasties in this NFL world. You cannot do it based on hope. You can't do it. So when you go look at the free agency market, like you said, you've got Njoku out there at $11 million per year. He's already 30 years old. Like, I like Njoku. I ain't paying him $11 million a year. Tyler Higbee, too old. Kyle Pitts, as you said, he's probably going to want to get $15 to $17 million per season. That is crazy. So for me, there's not a lot of options out there for the tight end market. And that's where I would say, look, let's get the best tight end in the draft. Let's not have a debacle where we keep passing these tight ends up year in and year out, and these guys just keep hitting over and over and over. I'm going to look at Kenyon Sadiq. I'm going to see if he can do everything I need him to do, and I'm pretty sure he can do that at 6'3", 245. He is a top 20. He's a move tight end. This dude can get out and play. I've watched him play at Oregon. Oregon's one of the only games I've watched a few games of this year because I don't even know why. I guess they joined the Big Ten, so they're constantly on our TV. but I've seen more Oregon games this year than almost any other team. Kenyon Sadiq is impressive. And so I know Andy's going to use a tight end. I know he's going to pass the ball with Mahomes. I don't know that Andy's going to run the ball 15 to 20 times with a guy like Jeremiah Love. Now, if I had that in the tank, if you got a Ferrari, you drive it. But Andy is so stubborn, I do not know. Now, if Bieniemy comes in, that could be a very sneaky good pick with Jeremiah Love if he can convince him to continue to run the ball.
Right. Well, that's kind of where I'm at, Mike. I'm about, getting your cake and eating it too right now. Because I feel like I'm more on the side of the fence where it's like, hey, let's Brett Veach a contract together. And I know it's going to be a little expensive, but how can we make it work to get Kyle Pitts to the Chiefs? Because I think Kyle Pitts has proven, and we've seen enough of him to know that he's a damn good tight end. The guy's only 25 years old. He's 6'6", 245 pounds, and runs a 4.4. He's essentially a younger, faster version of the player that Andy Reid built his entire offense around for a decade. And why the hell not bring a proven guy over that can keep this offense a-ticking or get it back to maybe where it was? Just something for Mahomes. I feel like if Mahomes and Pitts could even reach 80% of the magic that Kelce and Mahomes had together, you're right back to being just competitive right off the rip, right? And then, hey, if you want to take a shot on a Jeremiah Love in the top 10, then you go right ahead and do that. Because like you said, if you bring Eric Bieniemy back, could be a sneaky good pick. And then all of a sudden your offense looks completely different from last season. Now, you still have to worry about the defense, obviously, but I understand there's a lot of hurdles to jump to get a Kyle Pitts in here. We have our salary cap's kind of crap right now, but obviously there's going to be some things that go into play here soon that opens up a big bunch of that. And I think there's a lot more moves that we haven't even discussed where Brett Veach could clear up some more money. And I absolutely think that Pitts would be worth it if they could figure out how to make it work. I really do. Now, depending on how far that goes up, with negotiations with other teams or, the sweepstakes for Kyle Pitts, because I do know I've heard rumors that the Titans and the Commanders are heavily in on Pitts too. And let's just say Matt Nagy takes that coaching job and goes, over to the Tennessee Titans. Maybe he wants Pitts to be that Kelce for him and be a corner piece for him. So, I mean, they could bid on him. And then, of course, the Commanders are always looking for new weapons, too. They have a young quarterback that didn't have the greatest sophomore season. So, I don't know, man. It could be tough, but that's where I think I would kind of focus. Obviously, I'm not a GM. I'm not the smartest guy in the world. But to me, I don't know. Something feels right about the Chiefs getting a dominant tight end, especially a 25-year-old.
Look, you named it. The Titans. They have got a guy on there that I actually like that's getting ready to hit the free agency market. And I think he could work well within this offense. I liked him coming out in the 2022 draft. He come out of Maryland. He was fast. He wasn't the biggest guy in the world. He's only, I want to say 6'3", 240-ish. But he plays with the Titans, and I thought he's fast enough to do what we like to do, and I think he can almost play like an H-back if you need him to do it. That's Chigakwonkwo. Chigakwonkwo. I'll say it right. Okonkwo.
Say that one more time.
Say that as much as you can.
I can't say it once.
Okay. Yeah,
I can't even say it once. Say it one more time. I know a Titans fan, and I think they just call him Chiggy.
Yeah, okay, so Chiggy, this is the dude, like, I liked him out of Maryland. I thought he was good at what he did. He's a speedster. Like, there's everything about this guy. And I feel like if you want a guy that can come in and stretch the field and do something there, you've got a shot at maybe signing him. And then if Kelce comes back, I like this guy to be like a third or fourth tight end. If Kelce doesn't come back, then you have to have probably, in my opinion, you've got to upgrade it. You've got to go more to the Kyle Pitts. But I think if Kelce comes back, you could maybe get Chig, and then you could probably draft, like I said, Kenyon Sadiq, or maybe hit another one at the top of the second or third round.
Try to have that stepping stone there with Kelce for one more year. I'm absolutely with you. I think if you're going to go that route to try to get Sadiq or one of these younger guys that you think have a lot of upside, I think it's absolutely only if Kelce plays one more season. I think if Kelce ups and says he's retiring here in a couple months, I think you got to go out and try to make a play for Pitts. The next great touchdown is coming, and you can bet on it. We've teamed up with DraftKings Sportsbook, which is the best place to bet those touchdowns. DraftKings has industry-leading live betting market availability, which feature dynamic odds that move with the game and more open live betting markets more often. So get in on the action and sign up using our promo code ACU right now. With DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Yeah, I think there's two levels there. Okay, look, so you're not going to be able to sign Breece Hall and you're not going to be able to sign Kyle Pitts together. You could maybe sign one of the two, but the rest of your guys that build your roster at the bottom, when you sign those two guys, you are now weakening the bottom part of your roster to the point to where you're going to end up with a lot of UDFAs. Like, you just are. There's no way around it. You're not going to be able to sign a lot of these guys. You're going to get guys on 1 year. You're going to have more Jack Cochran's back. You know what I'm trying to say? That's what you're going to have. So you've got to pick it right. So I'm just saying, if Kelce comes back, you maybe want to take the young route. You want to draft one. Maybe you take the Kenyon Sadiq. Maybe you take a guy like Max Clare in day 2 out of Ohio State. Maybe you take Eli Stowers out of Vandy. You've got Terrence Carter out of Texas Tech. You've got all these guys you can take 2, 3, early 4. So you let Kelce build. You let Jared Wiley stay another year. He's under contract, obviously. You let Brittany Stool see what you got there. But like I said, if Kelce steps away and you're really down to just Noah Gray, Jared Wiley, Brittany Stool, you might need to do something a little more drastic. That might mean you may have to take the Kenyon Sadiq. You may have to go pay the big money for Kyle Pitts. Whereas the running back, I don't feel like in any scenario you are forced to pay the big money. I really don't. I think you could get a Tyler Algier. You can get somebody like that, and I believe they come in and do well. We've yet to see Dameon Pierce. This dude can look really good and maybe be this year's Tyquan Thornton going into next year.
Do you think that's why a lot of Chiefs Kingdom just would like to draft Jeremiah Love? Like, hey, if he's a beast, that's 5 years, you know? Like, and we don't have to pay him. You know, I don't know, maybe if that could be a factor instead of going out and paying for a Breece Hall or something like that.
It is. I would prefer Jeremiah Love, I think, over a Breece Hall, honestly. The only downfall to that is that you have to take him so high. But if he hits, he hits. I mean, there's plenty of statistics where guys are hitting throughout the draft. I mean, you've seen Bijan Robinson hit. You see Saquon Barkley hit. But you had to watch. Saquon Barkley battled a lot of early injuries. So that's just what you get with running backs. They get beat up. He's been used a lot in Notre Dame. Like, he doesn't, I mean, he's probably still got a lot of tread, but they've knocked a lot of tread off of him. But we heard that also with Jonathan Taylor, too, and you see what he's done. So you can't really, you just don't have any gauge of what you're going to do. I think running back is just a position I just don't feel like the Chiefs want to spend a lot of money on. So I don't think it's going to be Breece Hall. I think you will see an early drafted one, or I think you're going to go to the Tyler Algiers of the world.
Right. Well, I just think in general, like I've been saying it, Mike, and I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to stick to my guns. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't understand, how the salary cap thing's going to work or this or that, or I guess the implications down the road. But like, I'm just a strong advocate for, I think we really have to take advantage of free agency this season. I love the draft, obviously, and we want to draft well, and we want to have all those young guys. But I just really feel like, hey, how can we free up some money here? We're not in a good cap space, but like, okay, Jawan Taylor walks, you save some money. Patrick Mahomes restructures, you save some money. Chris Jones restructures, you save some money. Let's just say Kelce retires, you don't have to sign him back. There's a lot of different ways that you could probably save some money. I mean, if you wanted to, you could cut ties with some guys or whatever.
Right. You got Dana. You've got a lot of guys like that.
And my thing is like, a lot of people are like, oh, we got to burn this to the ground and rebuild it from the ground up. And like, when I look at this roster, even this season, as much of a disappointment as it was, you mentioned earlier, every game was a one-score game. And I don't feel like that you have to burn it to the ground and rebuild it from the bottom up. I don't think it's a rebuild. I really feel like you could probably plug, let's say 2 to 3 really good players in, and then maybe hit on like a guy or two in the draft that you can use right off the rip. And all of a sudden, it's just a totally different ball game. So like, to me, can you free up enough money to where you could be a player in just 2 big names in free agency? If you were to go out and get Kyle Pitts, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, this is exciting. What's Patrick Mahomes and Kyle Pitts going to be like together? Is that going to be even close to what him and Kelce were at one time? And then let's just say we need somebody to help rush the passer. I'm sorry. Boye Mafe, they tried to get him before the season ended. They tried to trade before the trade deadline. And he's going to be a free agent at the end of this season. And he's been a rising star over there in Seattle. So would it be possible to be a player and just two big free agents that can take care of two glaring problems and then see what happens in the draft? Is that unreasonable? Like, is that, just me daydreaming, or is that something that you think could happen?
It depends on how much money they can free up, and you got to remember, the more money you free up. So if you're getting rid of Drew Tranquil, if you're getting rid of Mike Dana, if you're getting rid of all these guys,
you got to plug more holes. But
you've got more holes to plug.
And I think we absolutely have to sign back Leo too. So that's something to consider.
Right, you've got to spend money on Leo. I'm almost positive they're going to spend money on Brian Cook. I think that they'll do it. I think
you can get a good deal with Cook. I think you can get a good deal with him too. I think it'd be worth it.
I've said this time and time again. I'm going to continue to say it. We've got to work the draft boards better and not just going up to get our guy. We have to start trying to move back and acquiring more picks. I think that's one thing Brett Veach has never done well, is to move back
and
Patriots acquire
route, right?
more. Yes, he's good at going up and losing and getting a good player that he was, but he's not very good at working himself back. He's not patient enough to do that. And the Patriots dynasty was built off that. It was built on patience. It was built off moving back and acquiring more. And the way you're describing it is you think we're close, so you think it's more profitable to go out and spend some money to get a couple holes to plug and win now rather than to draft and develop for 2 to 3 years down the road.
It's not even that. I think that the guys that I'm talking about are young. Like you're looking at 25-year-old Kyle Pitts. You're looking at, say, 27-year-old Boye Mafe. Like, these are guys that could be with the team for 4 or 5 years, and you're still building through the draft.
Pay for 4 or 5 years.
Understood. I get that. And there's a lot goes
and
into
a lot
that,
of Chiefs Kingdom is under this assumption, because we've seen it happen, that you can just always manipulate the contract. But we've also seen this blow up in Brett Veach. Not a lot of guys want to sign if there's not a lot of incentives on it. They don't want to just sign all these contracts that are backloaded.
Right. We have to have
they
good
know
contracts.
Right. They know that's a way for teams to get out.
I think we got to quit being a little bit cheap, man. We got to start paying these guys up front a lot. I think we got to give big signing bonuses. I think we got to really figure that out. A lot of guaranteed money as well.
I think you can afford one big free agent. I don't think you're going to get two.
Can't squeeze two out of there?
I think because you see this every year. Last year, our big free agent was literally the tackle, Jalen Moore.
And Jalen Moore,
yeah, Christian Fulton. Yeah, they were both about middle tier. Those guys are making nothing what you're getting ready to pay a Breece Hall or any of those guys you've been saying. So you're going to pay out the wazoo for those dudes. I don't know if you can even get one of them. Like, the way I see it is you've got elite, you've got great, you've got good, you've got serviceable, you've got literally like roster fillers. The Chiefs may be able to pick one out of the second, third tier, and then one out of the third or fourth tier. I don't think there's any way you're getting one out of that very, very top tier and another one. I just don't.
I mean, think about this for a second, though. And this is just to put it into perspective. We're talking about Kyle Pitts being a $15 million a year guy. They paid Christian Fulton $10 million.
That's true, but we've also talked about Kyle Pitts. He's had one good year, and I get it. He's been in Atlanta with not a lot around him, but he's been a bust to this point. And off one good season, you're going to go pay $45 million for 3 years. You're going to pay $60 million for 4 years. And like you just said, you're going to have to pay him a crap ton up front because there's going to be some desperate teams out there with a lot of cap.
I agree,
don't know if you can do that.
Maybe it's just me, but I don't see how in the world that guy couldn't reach his max potential with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, especially in an offense that's been built around a tight end. It's made for him.
This is what Veach would ask himself and his coaches around him. Is it more beneficial to this team going forward to get we'll say 4 year, $70 million deal for Kyle Pitts? Or is it more beneficial? Is he going to add that much more? Or is it more beneficial to say, look, we could trade back. We could take Kenyon Sadiq. We got him for 5 years at a very reasonable contract, and he may develop into a Kelce long term.
Right.
I think that's where
that's the risk you take, right? That's the risk you take. And like with me, I think we're in a position to where we've done this a lot. And I think it's at this point, it's like, hey, this dude is good. We know this. We already know. But
Yeah,
that's kind
I
of
mean,
how I feel about it.
The NFL revolves around tight ends, but I do think it is fading out. You're not seeing the days of the Mark Andrews, Travis Kelce, Gronk, like all the big tight ends every week, week in, week out. Those were your fantasy players. Those were
Right.
everything.
It has changed.
You're
It
not
has shifted
seeing
a
that
little
as
bit.
much. It's because they're too high. It really is. That has changed football, and it's all because of Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. So we've got to adapt to that. So it may be more beneficial to get a running back that can now hold these two safeties accountable. Maybe they got to slip back into playing a single safety, and maybe you don't. So I would think maybe you come more paying the running back then and drafted the tight end. I don't know. I really don't. Brett Veach has got a tough. Andy Reid too, man.
Tough,
They've got a tough little rebuild coming.
Yeah, I agree. You guys get down in the comments. Let us know what you think about the entire thing. Would you like to see them draft a Sadiq or sign a Kyle Pitts? Do you want Jeremiah Love? Do you want a first round running back, a top 10 running back? Do you think that would be beneficial for the team? If you guys are listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure to leave us a 5-star review. If you're watching here on YouTube, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this out with a friend. And we'll catch you guys next time. Go Chiefs.